episode, I've got no idea what I'm doing. We build more of the BMR-X. So let's pull everything out, work out where I'm at, and then spend probably about an hour doing some building, just relaxing, getting this stuff sorted. Definitely not going to finish today, but we're definitely on the home stretch, which is kind of nice. So I think when we finished up, we had sorted out this step. About 0.8, that's fine. So we're onto here, we're building the rear, I guess you call them knuckles. I'm not even going to try and remember words today, so... Actually, speaking of which, it is a Wednesday, good. So I put in for leave for Thursday and Friday, and went for a ride earlier, and had a sneaking suspicion that it may have actually been Tuesday today. Kind of glad that's not actually the case. So we should be focusing on what we need. So we need the part sprues. Going to need that. Going to need that. Going to need a drink, but that's going to have to wait till later. Definitely going to need that. So that's got what I want on it. But I'm missing one of the rear... Oh, that's fine. That's what I want. Or not. Aha! That is not what I want. So does that mean I've got another sprue around in here? Or did I break off a part? I should probably do the setup work before I come on stream, but then how would you know this is actually legitimate? Well, this is an interesting one. Let's pull off that part before I forget. Chuck you there. Chuck those there. Confirm it's not those. Pretty sure it's this one, but as you may or may not be able to see, this part sprue is actually empty. Or almost empty. Hope it's... here we go. It's in here. Oh, I can't see it very well. Whatever. The important part is I found it. So what else do we need? We finally need some screw rods. And we need some pins. So these are the screw rods and the 1M.6.3s. We need the ball connectors. Really should have organised this better. Like I say, you get what you paid for, but I'm hoping I've got actually higher production values than that. Wheels. Yes. In the future I definitely have to make this easier on myself. And we're going to need you, which are the rear swing arms. Take you out for good measure. Going to need you shortly. Take you out for the fun of it. I'm not going to need spacers. We will need the ball heads. Which is not those. And we are going to need the bearings. So let's do a quick sound off. I've got those, got those, got those on the sprues, have those, and did I get the pins out? No. So the pins should be laying around here somewhere. And in fact they may have come loose, which is not a good sign. So I'm just going to grab this and pull out the first one. And then we're going to have to hunt for the second one. So I'm guessing I didn't seal one of my plastic bags, which is a really, really bad sign. Because these boxes actually have small holes on the side, and these could have quite easily fallen out. So I'm going to put that aside for the moment and hide those. Oh, I'm really going to torture myself over not getting a drink, but that's fine. 1.3 is going there, those go in there. So let's break off the ball heads first. They're probably going to be the bigger ones now that I think about it, but we can check because these multi-threaded screw things, the diameter of that should tell us what we need. So you got M1.3s, put you back. I only need 2 of these, but I need to check that they're all the same length. If they are, I can use whichever. If there's some longer and some shorter, then I'm going to have to pull out my measuring stick. And funnily enough, due to math, I only have to measure 3, not 4. And they are all the same size, so that's good. Awesome. So I'll now grab one of those, do a quick test fit and work out which ball head set it is. Yeah, it's definitely those ones. Okay, we're going to need all 4 of those. These are always fun to insert. And by fun, I mean painful, painful, painful existence. Definitely going to need a screw head for that. So I'm just going to quickly, off camera, work out which one I need, which screw head I need. So many choices. It's ultra, ultra fine, unfortunately. None of these seem to fit, so we may just have to wing it in that case. I think I did have some more laying around here that got stuck to something, but that's fine, we'll just wing it. Don't think it's really going to be much easier, even if I did have the proper screw. Sorry, the hex bit. Luckily, I mean, as I found with a lot of these parts, they just screw on so nicely that once you've got the initial thread in, it's not much of an issue. So it needs to be 19.6 on the die on the length. So I'm just going to do that really, really rough and then measure at what distance we're at. Okay, that's on. Pull out my cheap calipers because I've run out of batteries on all my other ones. That's 19.6, which is actually quite big now that I think about it. Almost 2 centimeters. And then they also have to be 45 degrees apart. So I'm just going to quickly trim these up as well, so I've got a flat end to measure against. That'll do. So we're definitely going to be focusing on making progress today. Not going to say at the expense of everything else, but I do want to have something to show for today. And even though I've got a couple of days off after this, I've got other projects I want to be working on, so... There's plenty of other RC projects for me to complete, so... in fact, one of them is an 8-wheeler that I'm putting a new Hobby Wing ESC motor combo into that I'm looking very, very forward to, because that should make it a lot quieter and give it quite a bit more torque, but more interestingly, more control. And considering I'm using this as a crawler, which is a bit crazy, because the extra 8 wheels actually, and the extra, well, actually it's more the length and the extra weight get in your way. Kind of an interesting challenge. But hey, I don't buy RC cars because they're nice and simple. I buy them because they're fun to build and rather unique. I say that, but also bought a Techno 410, EB410, which is a very, very simple thing to build. Which way does the thread go on that side? Bit hard to tell. Actually, I am going to stop the stream just for a sec, so I'll be right back in a sec. Yep, staying hydrated is definitely half the battle. So let's get back to camera over desk. I've got all my layouts named different things. And as the name implies, it means well, it says camera over desktop, but it's actually the other way around. Oh no, the camera is over the top of the desktop. Yep, that is fine. Silly me. Okay. I think, funnily enough, we may have to clean up the edge of this. Yeah, just ever so... oops, sorry. Ever so slightly. It's a bit of rough spur there that I think was preventing the screw from going in cleanly. Or not. So we do have a couple of tricks up our sleeve. Let's try this one, which is just to put a slight chamfer on the inside, which makes things going a bit easier. Don't push too hard, just enough to clean off just a tiny bit of material. If the hole is the wrong size, then it really helps. Still not wanting to go in, unfortunately. Give it another go. Okay, that's starting to bite into the plastic. So just very careful, apply some pressure, make sure we're keeping it straight as we turn. No, okay. I think the hole is probably a bit too small, so I'm going to see how much force I can apply. In fact, why don't we grasp it with this just to get a bit of a better hold on it. While doing that, force it in and twist. A hard one. This is another part of the process I never really liked. At least building turnbuckles like this on a threaded rod is not the worst thing in the world, but it's definitely not the most fun either. So that definitely feels like it's caught on both sides, so we're now just going to rotate both black parts and not touch the part in the middle, and that just helps ensure that it goes in evenly. I found that it's not the most accurate to do it that way. But that it sort of self-compensates and screws evenly on both ends. So just measure that up. It needs a couple more twists. 1, 2, go to the 45 degrees, and should be just one more twist. And I think that's perfect. I think I just have a bit of extra spur on the edges, yeah. So if I clean that off, then that should mean yep, they're both the same length, which is more important than hitting the exact length, I think. Oh, so thirsty today. So let's get on to these ball screws. I'm loving how good the plastics are on this. I think the GLR had plastics on par with this. It's a bit hard to compare this far after the fact, but I do remember the GLR plastics being very, very exceptional, which was why I was so excited about the GLD compared to the GLZ. Okay. Although I think these, actually, you know what, I think this is a better plastic, because with the GLR, it really did feel like if you unscrewed it and then screwed it back in, it wouldn't be nearly as tight as before, whereas I don't get that feeling from this, the plastic on this. But it's still got all the same self-centering properties when you drive it in for the first time that I really like. So I'm just resting against my finger to help keep it straight as it goes in. Okay, I can feel it biting, so that's good. Oops. Okay, so let's drive that in. Actually, you know what? I might chamfer this side as well a bit, just to make the thing a bit simpler. It's just as you apply pressure, it's just veering off to the side at a fairly steep angle, and the chamfer should help that a bit. So you might not be able to see it on the table, but when I did that, some plastic fell on the top, which is how I know I've taken off just the right amount. That's interesting. Why is one of these heads different size to the other? So that bites securely, but why doesn't this one? No, that's really, really weird. Are those the same size? No, they look the same size, but I'm going to just discount that one as broken. Let's pull out another one and check. Yeah, okay. Might be why it wasn't screwing in properly. Maybe I had the bad one. So once again, leaning against my finger and screwing in at the same time. And that's going in much, much better now. In fact, I don't think that is the right head size for that one. So it's definitely not that. I need something bigger than that one. Maybe that. At least I don't have to worry too much about metric versus imperial. Like all these bits are imperial. Although it wouldn't be the first time I've seen someone use an imperial head thinking it's close enough and making my life difficult and causing parts to be stripped. It's part of the reason I don't like imperial. It's like there's just enough difference that it causes a lot of issues. And if I'm lucky, it's this one. And that's too small. Well, I guess I'm out of luck. I'll just have to keep on using this one. So where did I put my... It's just rotating in there like there's nothing... So let's retest all our screw heads in case I did actually skip over the right one. Oh, perfect. Yep, that's the one. Bingo. Now, if only this was ratcheting, it would be absolutely perfect. Yep, and it's driving in slowly. Apply a bit more force. And now I can feel it biting. Although now that I speak about it, I do have a ratcheting toolkit just to my right. It's designed for stuff in this scale. Okay, good. Now I just saw something very, very interesting. And I'm wondering if anyone else has spotted as well, but this is using all-wheel drive compatible swing shafts and then has an adapter to swap it over to Mini Z rear-wheel drive tyres. So it's this wheel hub thing here. Never even noticed that till now. Very, very interesting, that. Although I don't know where those pieces live. don't think it's there. Not on the sprue. Do you need these? Let's see what else is in my bag of goodies. Well, let's put the bearings in and see where we go from there. So, okay, they're fairly loose. Put the shields on the outside. Put that through there like that. This one down. Half shields on the outside, yep. So one side's definitely tighter than the other, which is interesting. Let's double check these spaces I made as well. I don't think I'm going to use them, but I just want to check the dimensions are correct. Yes, they are, so maybe I will use them. I just want to check how much space is in between these wheels. Let's pop out one of them like that. Because if I put one of these spaces in here, that means I can tighten the wheel to my heart's content and not have to worry about binding. Okay, that looks reasonably good. Let's see if I can just force it in like that. And if I put this through, that's a tight fit before. So the problem I had was that when I put these spaces under UV light, they slightly warped, which is fine. They're bendable and flexible, but it does mean that getting them on initially is a bit of a challenge. And that one actually split, but to be honest, that's not a problem. If anything, that just probably makes it a bit easier to get on. And if it does, I might even incorporate that into the final design. That could be useful. Okay. That definitely seems like it worked. So let's grab another one of these in. I actually had this recommendation from someone else on YouTube. They were talking about how the outside of the bearing is supported, but the inside is not, and that if you tighten the wheel nut, it actually causes you to tighten on a bit that's actually floating inside the bearing, which can cause binding, and that you could fix it by putting a spacer in between the center of both of the two bearings, just to basically support it horizontally and allow you to clamp onto it a bit tighter. Geez, that's a perfect fit. That's actually probably going to be really, really nice. And I must say I'm pretty happy with it. For something I just 3D printed on a resin printer, it's come out pretty good. I mean, definitely not for everyone, but I mean, keep that stuff laying around, so it was finally good to be able to use the printer for what I always intended it for, which was printing mini Z parts. Okay, so this is retained in there. So we want the rear assembly. Like that. It's been really nice not having to file any parts so far, or only minimal filing compared to the GLD. It's definitely a plus. I mean, yes, I can make things a lot smoother if I had filed some parts, but they've been so close that it hasn't really worried me too much. Or so close to perfect it hasn't worried me too much. So I'm just going to balance that like that. Put that through. Apply a bit of pressure. And fingers crossed that goes through. Bam. Squeeze it on like that. Cool. Tighter, I think. Should actually be using my green pliers for this. Okay, that's evenly spaced. That rotates fairly... Oh, they're upside down, aren't they? I was going to say, that rotates fairly smoothly, and then I realise I put it in back to front. The other thing I'm really enjoying is the slightly larger scale. It's just noticeable, but it's making some of the parts a bit easier to work on. So unlike the Mini Z stuff, this is actually 1/24th. So this is designed for like Tamiya body kit, model kits and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting in that I think there's a Mini Z body clip kit you can get for it, but I may actually end up selecting something a tiny bit larger and just going with that. Okay, cool. And let's see. It's caught. There you go. Yep, that's pretty good. So I'm just going to put that in like that, and we're going to secure that before I go on to the next side. So I need something bigger than that. Just put that one. I really need two of these screwdrivers. Like sometimes I switch so often between them that it would just seems like it'd be better just to have both sizes I need handy. Cool, that's going in nicely. Feel metal on metal, that's good. There we go, just need another rod. Put the rod in through the top with one hand and jiggle the entire carriage or whatever you call it with the other. Even that up. So progress, that's good. That looks like nearly the entire reassembly done after this. Maybe we even get to secure it in the next step. I don't even know why they have screws to secure these rods, but maybe they just get looser over time or something like that. Normally there's enough friction in the plastic that it always seemed unnecessary to me, but I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Okay, so this is actually a bit hard to get in. May have to remount the hole a bit. Oh no, just a bit of force is all that's required. We screw in, feel a bit of resistance, so we stop. Has knocked the pin out of place a bit, so we're just going to force it back in. And then re-tighten. In fact, that's really... So as I tighten it up, it's actually forcing it out one side. So you may want to put something on there to make it pop out or compensate for that. In fact, yeah, I've got to do it on this other arm because it's actually popped out too far. It's actually too tight for me to fix up. Glad I noticed that. That could have really affected the suspension if I hadn't fixed that. So this time I'm going to squeeze the tweezers on one side as I tighten up so it can't force its way through. So that's flat. Yep, no pin protrusion there. Entire setup's moving pretty free. Okay, so I need to put that in place, which I must have missed in previous instructions. We're at the half-hour mark, which is good, although still exceptionally tired. This type of streaming after a long day, it's relaxing in some ways, but it's a good way to make you want to go off to bed. Maybe I should have waited a couple of hours and used it to fall asleep. Cool. Bit more force, yep, and then it's digging in. Okay, we're looking for, doesn't really seem to be a flat side, which would, or a shiny side, which would normally indicate that that's the side that goes down onto the ball itself. I think I'll just pop those arms out and push them down manually like that. And that's interesting. Why is that? Looks like it's going to be a tight fit with the balls. It's reasonably loose. And then squeeze it together with a pair of tweezers. And we're done on one side. Okay. Now we test that. That's also pretty loose. Awesome. Rear end done. What does it want next? Rear suspension. Perfect. I'm more than willing to cooperate for that. So we want to see... Oh, it wants the M26s. That's interesting. And it wants 2 more balls. So I'll start with the balls. Because we have the screwdriver with the correct part in it already. Oops, they go on the back, and this is a directional part, which is noted by the indent, as you can see in the picture. And they want to go on the innermost holes, so let's screw that up. Well, let's screw them in, we can screw it up later. There's still plenty of instructions to screw stuff up. Okay, that's one. Slowly coming to. That's good. Grab 2 of the M26s. And there's even still more ball things to put together, but looks like we're on to doing the shocks as well. Now I do want to grease these up. trying to work out between 25,000 weight oil and 3,500, or 35,000 I should say. I think I might go the full hog and go the 35,000. Sorry, go very, very light on the shocks and go the 25,000. Dry as a bone at the moment. Okay, that's good. It's tight. Move on to the rear shock mounts. Bam, bam. Thank you, ma'am. That's that one there. Perfect. At least this part seems to be going quicker. I'm not sure why. Like, it seems like I'm screwing in a lot more, but... Oh, you know why? Because I had to deal with those spacers, that's why. Oh, it's so bad, I'd completely forgotten about it. In terms of putting this together as a build, this has been reasonably quick. There's been a couple of pain points, as I said. Like, there's obviously some parts that have gone together without any thought as to how you'd actually pull them off in practice. Like, it looks good in the CAD and the camera stuff, but in reality, it's a bit more difficult than that. One, two, long shock option. Those. It looks like those are the spaces I want. Ah, there they are. I was looking for those wheel converters and bam, they're in here. So conceivably, if you needed to convert between all-wheel drive style swing arms and rear-wheel drive wheels, you could probably buy these adapters separately. I know RC Mart has started to stock some of the BMR or BM racing parts, and it wouldn't surprise me if these can now be purchased separately. In fact, why don't we, while I'm on air, try and bring that up. So just while the page is loading, we'll continue on the steps. Oh, they've got the rock crawler from Orlando. That's dangerous, I could buy that. 1/32 scale. So let's bring this up over here. Extra speed. I wouldn't mind getting that set actually, but another time perhaps. Another time. Like small tool sets are really, really nice for a number of reasons. Like I like this toolkit, and I wouldn't. Maybe I'll just get another set of that, because that toolkit is actually quite small. Almost Real, Proline, Kyosho Phaser, 3 Racing. I knew I saw it here earlier. BM Racing. So BM Racing has a wide range of parts. These micro plugs are handy and interesting to have. You've got the carbon body set, which is nice. Not seeing the wheel nut converters, so maybe they don't have them in stock, but they do have the alternate wheels, which is pretty awesome, including the Mercedes wheels if you're interested. Let's put that back to where it came from. There we go. So let's twist and get this part on. It's a nice tight fit. Like, I'm actually pretty happy with the tolerances of that wheel converter as well, so that's pretty awesome. I might have to squeeze that on because I think maybe it's not. It's the best way to grasp this. There's not a lot of good ways, so let's try and squeeze it back down. That's better. I'm guessing the spacer I put in has a lot to do with this as well. In fact, that offset almost looks like the spacer, but that's fine for the moment. Let's put that down, make sure it's still running true. Yep. Okay, let's get back to reassembling the shocks. So these are threaded shock bodies with a notched rotatable plate that the spring sits on, which is a style I really like. The fully adjustable shocks are really nice. I don't like having to put clips or stuff on. I just feel that's a bit crappy. Mainly because the clips are easy to lose and they're a bit harder to get exact. And sometimes you need to be able to turn something like half a turn, and you just can't do that with the clip-on style. So I'm going to stop throwing stuff around. Make sure that's nice and smooth shortly. Okay, so we do a test fit. Slides reasonably well to the point I don't have to really do any fine tuning. Yeah, that's a better fit. Okay, where are my oils? Low viscosity. Oh, don't tell me I'm knocking. Oh, here they are. I keep on knocking things off my table and it's really starting to get annoying. A tissue, because this stuff's always messy. Now another trick is you don't put the springs on yet, because it makes it very hard to clean. Just take the pin, rotate in the center, then wipe off most of the excess, because it's already a tight fit. Try and get in the center. Knock a bit more in. And then force it all the way in and then clean off the top. Which is actually harder than it looks. Because you don't want to pull it out and then wipe off too much. You just want to wipe off all the excess. There's a bit of extra tissue there, so we'll just quickly get that off if I can. There we go. Someone's messaging me for some reason. In fact, that almost feels like this smaller shock body. You know what? It actually probably is. Okay, so I thought there were two long ones. Turns out that's actually incorrect. But that's fine. We can work with that. Feed the grease back in and push down again. Wipe off the excess. just about. Slides pretty smoothly. Now pull out the springs. Or did I pull them out already? No, I don't think I did. Oh, there they are. So I've got a feeling the springs are all the same length, but we just need to double check because that can be a pretty big mistake. And it does look like there might be two sets of springs. Long shock, soft spring. Okay, these are the soft. So there's two types of springs there, and maybe they are the same length, but they want the soft ones. And if you squeeze them together, it's pretty easy to see which one is a soft set. It's the one with the thinner wire. So we'll put those back now and save them for later. And then, did they put the springs on immediately, or did they save it? Doesn't say, but I'm going to put the springs on now. There's no point not to. I can always pop them off later if it's an issue. So, oops, just made a mistake you should never do. Always put your grease containers up, because this stuff is actually quite irritating to get off. And you end up contaminating surfaces, which is really, really, really bad. So making sure the adjustable spring head goes at the top, because that's just my personal preference. There's no reason on this one you couldn't put it at the bottom. It looks like there's more than enough clearance. Okay, that's made its way in. And you go over the top there. In fact, these are going in a bit better than some of the other parts. Okay, got my forces lined up. And that spring definitely needs a bit of preload. So I'll just quickly do that. Quite a bit of preload. Oh yeah, that's good. The shock geometry on this doesn't seem too bad. More preload than I'd typically put on there, but given how long the shocks are, and given how much room I've got to actually, or how much preload I can put on there, it's not much of an issue. Once again, sorry for the awkward position where you can't see anything, but some of these parts I actually have to keep line of sight on when I'm doing. At least I have them spinning across the room, so... Did I screw up? I think I screwed up. Oh no. Oh yes, no I did. That was silly of me. So I forgot to transfer over the collar. It was on this one. I was wondering why the spring was slipping. Oh. So we tighten that up. Now I'm not going to try and match preload at this stage. I'll leave that till the tuning stage at the end, but I'll just make it look visually similar. It's a bit more. Let's go like that. One. And let's do two. There we go. And as you can see, they're working. Yeah, I can still feel the gears catching in one spot, but couple of high-speed runs and that should go away normally. If not, we'll just disassemble the entire thing and rebuild it. It's pretty common. So let's work out what we're going to do here. Can screw on the front, possibly. Yeah, we might do that. So what's the count? The CS7s. Are you the CS7s? You're the 4s, the 6s. There's the 10s. Once you. There's the 14s. So I do know there was a bag of 7s, and if I can't find it, then that's on me having lost them. Fives, 14s. So spaces. Not those. Not those. 2 4s. Not those. There's the ball heads. Let's start sticking some of this stuff in, and except it gets complex pretty quickly. Oh wait, it is the M24s. What am I thinking? M24 countersize. There we go. So let's tip out a bunch of these, because I need quite a few. So we need to put this assembly back together. They go on top, or no, it goes underneath, like that. And there's 6 screws in total. So if I put that, how does that line up? That actually almost looks like that goes there. Like that, and then that's got 6 screws, and that goes there. Oh, okay, that goes in the center then. Yes, okay. So if I put that there, look like it could fit in either the forward position here or where I've got it in the center between the 2 arms. But there's some recessed notches for it that make it a bit more obvious. Okay, so that wants 3 screws. We're just going to get them in initially just to line everything up. Okay, it looks like they want a bit of force to go in. Interesting, maybe I haven't got it flat up against the surface in that case. So this middle part definitely seems to have to go in first because it's got a plate for the motor to rest on. So that means if we put the motor on first, we wouldn't be able to get underneath it. Okay, so got those catching but not going through. Maybe the plastic's just a bit thicker than the holes that they're supposed to go into, which means I might have to force it. Cool. Let's try that now. Yep, that's feeling a bit better. Oh, come on, where did you go, screw? I've got a feeling I'm going to need that screw towards the end. Okay. It's fitting in place really well now. Feel it tightening down. Yep, so that was the right move. Just had to tweak it a bit more and get everything into position. That means we can slide this under here and into place with just a bit of finagling. And at least those pins in the center slot line up pretty easily. And because it's a metal part, I expect that to go in a lot smoother, and it does. Okay, good. And I located that screw that bounced away, which is nice. So depending on how bad the swing arms are, we may or may not complete that and then finish up. I'll get these screws in, give them a tighten, check the instructions, and then make the decision from there. Now I do have Thursday and Friday free this week, so I may stream tomorrow and I may stream Friday, but it will be at least one of those days at a minimum. Okay, so all those arms and everything are moving really brilliantly. So what do the arms want? I could even do that, and the shocks. What's the time? It's 9:11 already. I'm going to leave it there. I'm pretty happy with the progress today. So I've got the front end done. I've got the back end done. We need to put the back end plate in and do the servo and everything there. The electronics I normally do off stream, but if people want me to do it on stream, I can do that as well. But expect at least one more stream from me this week, possibly two, and after the second stream I think we should be done. So look forward to that. In the interim, keep on building, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed the build of the BMR-X lately. It's definitely been an interesting build. It hasn't been without its problems, but it is a bit of a unique chassis, and I'm glad I got a chance to build this. If you can think of what body you'd like to see go on top of this, please let me know, because I'm a bit undecided. But I'm thinking a rally theme, but I'm open to suggestions. I don't know if I want to go with a typical rally car, with a typical drift car, so please let me know. Talk to you later. Bye.